Daniel Darwin.
My name is Julia Nebrija is the full name.
I'm otherwise known as Astro Boy. I hula hoop on fire for a living, and I do theater, and I live in Manila.
I'm transitioning more into how arts and culture transforms our city. And I've found my home in Malate. As someone who never had a home, that has been one of the most special things to me, I think, is like I'm part of something. That's my favorite part about being Filipino.
The title of our podcast is called In Fairness. In Fairness as a phrase is completely, I think, individual to Filipino culture. It's like an English phrase that is Filipino.
It starts off like the traffic is terrible and like, you know, the pollution is bad and it's difficult sometimes, but like in fairness, I love it.
In Fairness with Julia and Daniel. Hello, and welcome to our podcast, In Fairness with Julia
and Daniel.
And Daniel.
Julia and Daniel.
This is a podcast wherein Julia and I discuss our lives here in Manila as two Phil-Ams who grew up sort of half in Manila, half out of Manila in other spaces in the world. For me, it was outside of Philadelphia. For Julia, it was
New Orleans, Saudi Arabia, California, Washington, D.C., New York, Madrid.
Jesus, Julia, save some for the rest of us.
All right, sorry.
I spent some time in China and some
Whatever,
time
like
in
a
Nigeria.
weekend.
I
Yeah.
spent 2 years in Nigeria.
You didn't? Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, when I was a kid. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like from the ages of 2 to 4, and the only thing I remember is eating like locusts and field rats. That's it. And I really liked yam. Apparently, I used to go from like house to house in my compound that we lived in.
I grew up in a compound too.
Yeah. Okay. So what compound did you grow up in?
Well, mine was in a desert in the middle of Saudi Arabia.
Right. And why were you on a compound?
Oil. Saudi Arabia. Usually it's oil. So. Wait, but Manila.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we grew up all over the place. Julia a bit more than me. And then we both spent some time in New York. And then about 3 years ago, for each of us, we both moved here. And that kind of shocks people when we meet people on the street. But it never really shocked us. For both of us, the decision to move to Manila felt really natural.
Yeah.
And we've never looked back. And it's an adventure. So
basically, that's going to be our show. We're going to just sit around. Daniel and I sit around and talk anyways. So we thought maybe we should sit around and talk and try to make sense of it a little bit with other people and see what happens. So that's what we're doing here today.
Right. You know, we often get asked by people we meet here, or at least I do. I don't know about you, Julia, but I often get asked like, why do you stay in Manila, or why did you move to Manila? And hysterically, the assumption is always that we failed somehow in New York. Do you feel
a little bit? It's sort of like you couldn't, like the only reason that you're here is because you couldn't be somewhere else.
Right. But
we're really like, I mean, this is if you can see our backdrop right here, we have, we are in a corner somewhere in Manila in front of a Sorry store.
Corner.
Real live, coming live to you
fake.
from the corner of so-and-so Manila Sorry store.
Blurred branding.
Blurred branding for drinks that we may or may not be drinking. And basically, we decided, you know, let's come together and talk about stuff on the street, on the corner, fake street, real street corner. And yeah, just basically shoot the shit in a tumbai kind of way.
Yeah, and to do that, so we wanted to talk to you guys really briefly about what our podcast is going to be about.
Is it even called a podcast if we're being filmed?
Filmcast.
Filmcast? Vlog?
Vlog.
No, but that's different. I think it's like a video. It's a video cast.
It's a video cast.
No, I don't think that's right.
No,
it's
like
a show.
plaster cast?
It's like a web show.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast show.
Video
show
about
cast.
About us, sort of running into walls as we navigate our lives and our identities and our existences here in Manila. But because this is the first episode, we decided to make things a little spicy. And so we wrote down a list of like questions that we're gonna ask God to read to us, kind of like a OkCupid profile, like
to basically help you guys get to know us more.
Yeah, so that as we move forward, you'll know what to expect. So, God?
Yes.
Ooh. Can you ask us the first question?
All right. What did you guys want to be when you were kids?
What did we want to be when we were kids? Julia?
Well, I thought I was actually black for the longest time. So that was something that happened. Yeah, because I grew up in New Orleans. I was born in New Orleans. And so when I was living in New Orleans, I basically, like, I'm not like super dark, right? But like I'm a little bit tan right now. So you can imagine in New Orleans, if you're 1/38 African American, you're considered African American. So like I was a little bit darker than a lot of kids that I knew. I didn't really know what Asian was. And I thought that Asian was some like subsector of African American. So, I mean, this has nothing to do with the question. But that's where I was coming from at the time in terms of like my like Filipino-ness. I didn't really know.
I was like, wait, so you wanted to be black?
No, I didn't know. Okay, sorry. So anyways, that's just like something that happened to me when I was a kid.
Right.
But what I wanted to be growing up, where I always thought that I would be, was some kind of like, I mean, this is ambitious, right? But you know, some kids want to be astronauts.
You're a kid, yeah.
I know. It just sounds so egotistical. Like even when you're like 5, it's like you wanted to be Mother Teresa, Madeleine Albright. Like that's a little bit.
Is that what you wanted to be?
Yeah. No,
oh
I
my
really
God.
like. I really thought I was going to be like world peace giver.
That's
for real,
amazing.
For real.
As a little kid.
As a little kid.
You were still like a fucking philanthropist.
I thought I was going to be some kind of philanthropist. I tried to start like different initiatives, and when I moved to Saudi Arabia, I had like this little like toy donation for like the hospital, like kids who like were stayed in the hospital for too long. I had like canned good drives for like you know workers who were working in Saudi Arabia who were like you know Pakistani, Indian, Filipino, whatever, away from their families. Like I always thought that I was going to be some kind of like Madeleine Albright sort of.
Wait, who's Madeleine Albright? Sorry, I'm an idiot.
No, come on.
No, I don't know who she is.
Mother Teresa.
Okay, I know Mother Teresa.
Okay. So anyways, I was going to be this like person who brought people together or something. I don't know.
Wow, that is like way more abstract and
slash,
B.
but there's a slash. There's a slash.
Okay.
The slash was that I was also going to be like this amazing performer. Like I was in a dance school when I was little, and I've always loved sequins, and that's where that came from. That's where that comes from, is the sequins.
You're like,
it's like
I've got to perform
costumes.
because of the sequins.
It's the costumes. Like I would even hook up like a mic in my parents' house when they had like dinner parties, and just like take the dinner parties hostage and sing like Ace of Base and things like that.
Yeah. I used to do that too when I was a kid. I would sing the song from Mulan. Like, so I guess it's my turn to answer because that was a big segue.
That's a big segue.
Yeah, so...
You thought that you were in Mulan. It's like, who's that girl that I see?
No, exactly. I would
back.
sing that song to my parents who are missionaries. I would sing it to their friends, and I would come down the stairs. So basically the answer to the question, who did I want to be when I was a kid, is Lea Salonga, pretty much. Like... I was 8, and I lived in Cainta.
So we both have very strong female figures that we were aspiring to.
Yeah, Mother Teresa and Lea Salonga. But,
I mean, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Essentially the same thing.
We're essentially already there.
The same exact person.
Yeah, basically. Just different names.
Both atheists.
Which, Mother Teresa or Lea Salonga?
I don't know. I can't speak for either. Except I can speak for Mother Teresa. You know that they uncovered her journals and she was an absolute atheist. Did you ever...
Groundbreaking.
Yeah, this just
Headline
in.
news.
Da, da, da.
This just in.
Yeah.
This just in.
Yeah. Her journals were found after she died with this big big letter that was like, never open these. So clearly the church opened them. And it was filled with accounts of her doubts and her stark lack through experience of faith. Very intense stuff. But that's not the answer to the question. The answer to the question was I wanted to be a Broadway superstar from the time that I was 8 years old. My parents are missionaries here in Manila. My dad's a white pastor for this cool little church called Word Community Church that meets in Pasig. And my mom is a counselor and pastor's wife, and she's an author as well. So I grew up very, very, very Christian in a Catholic city, which is a very interesting sort of dynamic because they're close, but they're not the same. And so there's this weird sort of tension between the evangelical Christians and the Catholics here that I felt very oppressively when I was a kid because I was gay, as the day is long.
Was and is.
Was and is. So the church and I never really got along. But when I was 8 years old, there's this man named, this brilliant theater practitioner here in the Philippines named Freddy Santos. And he called my parents out of the blue and was like, God spoke to me in a dream and told me that Daniel is going to be an actor and he should be in this new play I'm writing called Widows, Orphans, and Wildebeests, which was this groundbreaking play that was done in the Philippines by an offshoot of Trumpets.
So basically you were like, by divinity.
I was like prophesied.
You were prophesized to be this amazing Broadway actor of the likes that no one has seen.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay.
I was going to be Daniel Salonga.
Daniel Salonga.
Wait, is her brother actually named Daniel? I don't know.
I don't know. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I was going to be like the
Suck
next
if you can't
big
get that Twitter.
Annie. Danny.
Danny. That is so bad.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. I love bad puns. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid was... Well, okay, so what happened was this show, Widows, Orphans, and Wildebeests, was actually very intense and groundbreaking for the Filipino theater. It was about infidelity in the Filipino home and satellite families and how men like have other complete families. So as an 8-year-old, I mean, you can imagine the effect it had on me. So I think that really dictated... I ended up becoming what I wanted to be when I was a little kid. I mean, not a star on Broadway, but pursuing political theater, actually.
I thought you were going to say like a womanizer.
Yeah, I
imagine that.
I
like,
got biddies all over town, motherfucker.
You're like, I learned how to be, you know, like have mistresses
I learned
here,
how
mistresses there,
to lie
since I
to
was
my
like
wife
so litty.
and my first mistress and my second mistress.
And your second mistress, yeah.
And I have
17
like
cities in Manila.
16 children.
No, but okay, well, and you're not so far off. When I met Daniel, he was starring in Carlos Celdran's production of Imelda, Viva Imelda.
Live in La Vida Imelda.
Live in La Vida Imelda.
God,
as
you
Imelda.
can't remember any of the titles.
Daniel has so many accomplishments that I don't remember. Like so many, like he was in this major production of the Philippines. It's like that show that has triple X's. It's like Talent, like America's Got Talent.
Talentadong
but
Pinoy.
It's called Talentadong Pinoy. I always say it's Talentadong Filipino. He was also in Live in La Vida Imelda. So I'm very proud of him. Not that I can't remember all of those things, but I'm very proud of him. So I met him actually when he was starring as Imelda.
Yeah,
in this production.
I was playing Imelda Marcos in Carlos Celdran's play. It was my first time doing drag professionally.
Professionally.
Because Lord knows.
So you're not super far off. You're not super far off.
No, I feel like I hit pretty close to the mark. And so did you, actually.
But you hit close to the mark.
You work in urban development, as did Mother Teresa. Sorry, I'm just going to bend down so I can fill my glass.
Well, okay.
Do you need a top off?
I do need a top off. Thank you so much.
So
I think that the point is that we ended up, we're not so far off, right? But it sort of culminated here in Manila.
Yeah, actually,
a lot of our dreams,
so crazy.
A lot of our dreams and aspirations came true in Manila.
We became our childhood dream in Manila.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is a little bit crazy. I never thought that that's where, right now, here with you in this room is not where I thought I would be right now. I just like turned 30 the other month, a couple months ago. I'm not going to count how many. And I just didn't, I mean, I'm super happy about where I am, but I never would have thought that like the crazy mix of things that I would have loved in life that would make up a place that I would love to call home would be in Manila. I just never would have thought.
So I think God has a question that pertains to that. God, what's the next question, please?
Where did you see yourself as becoming when you graduated college?
Where did you see yourself becoming when you graduated college, Julia?
Oh, I saw myself like running some international organization from Washington, D.C. I was like, had like 3 internships, was like, I like redid my resume every week, you know, with like the newest updates and like what resume should be, you know. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was super on the way for like power suits, but like you wear the shoes, like tennis shoes to like walk to work, and then you put your heels on at work, right? Like I was super on the way to policy, influencing American policy, international development, changing the way that we approach, you know, poverty alleviation around the world. Yeah. Like I really saw myself in that role, and I realized that
very, very sort of bureaucratic.
I was talking about a place that was not my community, right? Like, why am I in Peru building a school?
Right.
Like why? Like why did I just send the money? Like why did I even go there? You know, right. Like what am I doing in Costa Rica? Trying to make education better. What is that about? That's you know?
So
and so then I realized, okay, I wanted to study more after I graduated, and then I was thinking, all right, well maybe I should think about a place that I have a connection to, and I sort of had this very false sense of, okay, well, I mean, from a very, very naive point of view, the Philippines has those problems too. Like, why don't I just go to the Philippines and look at those issues, right?
Just at least I have ties
thinking about
there,
this, yeah, thinking about this like really, really superficial connection because of my ethnicity, my half ethnicity.
You were how old?
Well, I was older. I was like 24 at this point. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this is like post having a couple years of a job in Washington, D.C. And then I got here and I was like, okay, this is way more than being about being half Filipino, although that's lovely and I'm discovering a lot about that. But the magic of the Philippines is what hooked me.
Yeah.
Is what hooked me.
Yeah.
And then that other naivete, sort of, I graduated from that.
Yeah, you learned very early
gradually,
on.
Very gradually, though, due to the patience of so many of our very, very good friends who suffered through that discovery of me, which I will thank them endlessly when I get any kind of award. It'll be like, thank you to all of my neighbors, all my close friends for dealing with my
naivete.
My naivete of I'm going to solve this problem and this problem and this problem of this country. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
It's totally crazy.
But I feel like I dealt with that and am dealing with that too in regards to my life and sort of position here in Manila's sort of socioeconomic ladder, you know, like in scene and culturally. But it's funny that what you said, because for me, what I wanted to be outside, like at the graduating point in college, was I wanted to be a playwright who was sort of the embodiment of the Asian American voice for the new generation in Broadway. Like that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to have won a Pulitzer by the time I was 27. That was on. Like I wrote that multiple times. In fact, my password for my first two business accounts, accounts that I made for projects and businesses, was Pulitzer, because I was so important to me to win a Pulitzer by the time I was 27. Because I wanted to be the first writer to talk about the lived experiences of biracial minorities in America, and to sort of like shed light on the way that racism in America, because I'm half American, and I was living in America, you know, racism towards Asian American populations, especially Filipinos, is very sort of interesting and nonviolent and sort of ridiculous and like whatever. So that's what I wanted to be, and it's so funny because
you have no Pulitzer yet, but like you're not super far off from being like. I love.
No, exactly, but it's like what you said about building a school in Peru, where you're just like, why am I doing this here when it's not my magic? It's not me.
Yeah, that was like my own. That was my own ego trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna help people.
I'm gonna go fix problems.
I'm gonna go fix problems in places I have no business trying to fix problems in.
Yeah, and for me it was like,
I think that's something that we constantly struggle with here as well. Is that at what point are you also feeling that still, even as a half Filipino, even as a citizen now? I became a Filipino citizen to solidify that commitment, right? And even with all of that, sometimes you're still like, who am I to be like,
yeah, right? Like, no, I mean, I think
X, Y, or Z, right?
We'll be dealing with that until we die.
I think we'll always be dealing with that. That's going to be a central struggle for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Which is why we're talking about it now.
which is why we're talking about it now. This is something that we talk about privately, but we wanted to bring it public to basically have more people enter this conversation, and also, basically just kind of journal what this journey is going to be like, because we have no idea what is going to be the result of this, essentially. And even so that we have these struggles and different things, let's talk about our magic.
Yeah. Well, what's the next question, God?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
How did you end up in Manila?
Oh, so that's about our magic.
Okay.
So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Well, I kind of started talking about it a little bit. I came here originally on a Fulbright scholarship to research slum upgrading initiatives in Metro Manila.
Which means?
How are we going to, there are something like, it's like 800,000, the housing backlog of Metro Manila is about 800,000 in the Metro and Mega Manila area, right?
Wow.
Including like waterways, danger areas, and then general informal settlements. So how are we going to actually deal with that moving forward? How do you get people in housing? How do you get them livelihoods? How do you figure out how to plan communities and integrate communities into the existing framework of the city, right?
Instead of
how do you
just
fund it? How do you build it?
shipping them off.
Instead of just like
into
basically
nowhere.
bringing them out of the province and calling it a day.
Yeah.
Like, how do you really deal with it in a way that you are addressing the urban planning issues of the city? Small topic. So,
baby, easy.
just a little bit of, just like a little bit of a thing. So I started with that, and then I came back a couple times to manage grants. I had basically been 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the whole time that I was coming to Manila. I was between here, I was between Washington, D.C., and then I went to graduate school in New York City.
So you were courting Manila, but you weren't committed.
I was courting Manila.
You were fucking around.
I liked certain things, I didn't like certain things, and I was sort of playing that on the fence. I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm here for the things I want to be, but I'm not here for the things that I don't want to be here for, right? And then after finishing grad school, I was like Manila was always on my mind. Like I was in New York City, and I would be inspired by so many things, and I would see things and hear things and feel things, and then where I would want to practice that, or where I'd want to bring those ideas to, would be Manila.
Yeah.
Right? I always thought back to it. And the problem was I was in a relationship at the time.
Oh, shit.
I was in a relationship in New York City, living with my boyfriend, and I didn't imagine moving the two of us here. Like, it just didn't seem like a place that it was going to work for the two of us. Like, it just didn't really seem like a place that would work. Obviously, I was in the wrong relationship, if that's right? But I came back here for a two-month assignment. I had a ticket back to New York City and all of that. And while I was here, essentially, one day on Skype, it just fell apart. It just totally fell apart.
I remember that day, actually.
It just fell apart. I fucking cried for like a week straight, like didn't eat, was like so down and out. I was just in the apartment, just completely miserable. And then all of a sudden, like as I was moving,
eat that cake?
Oh, my friend got me a breakup cake that I had to share with a pregnant woman. Who was like, it was actually her, like, congratulations on getting pregnant / sorry about your breakup cake.
It's like,
which is like not the cake that you want to eat.
No,
it's
that's
not
like
the
an
cake you want to eat,
untouchable
and like
cake.
that's not
I
a
would
cake
not
that you want to
eat that
share
cake.
with like a glowing, glorious pregnant woman. Like, happy for you.
You're like sobbing into the
not,
chocolate.
like sobbing into the chocolate. Like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy your life is so good right now. You're moving out, having babies. Like, it was like really,
That's
so
great.
I ate most of the cake. She didn't get to eat she did not get to eat very much of it. She was like, where'd the cake go? I was like, I don't know, someone like ate it. But as I was going around Manila and as I was here, it was weird. It was like all this sadness that I was having was contrasted by all these opportunities that I saw and all this potential I saw while being here. And it was like, oh wow, there's all these organizations doing wonderful things. There's these design community that's making really innovative leaps in all these different areas. There's all these communities that I want to be a part of, and it just kind of came together. And then I had a couple of breakdowns in cabs, obviously, because cab drivers are always like, "Are you married? Are you like how many children
What
do you
good
have?
are you?
What good are you in life?" Like, and then it's like, "Oh shit!" Like I don't know how to answer that, right? And then like as you're saying that, like Adele starts playing on the radio, and
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
you're fucked.
"Never mind, I'll find someone like you," and you're like, "Ah, damn it!"
Like weeping in
Like
front of a
weeping
cab
and
driver.
like in the cab, it's like not cute. And you get on the LRT and whatever else.
They asked to marry you, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, he's like, I have a cousin, could like take you on a date or like a movie if you really want. And you're like, no, maybe, but like,
Call me on Tuesday.
call me on Tuesday when I'm done with this. But basically, as I was going through this breakup, you know, and you start to see things differently in your life, I realized that there was like so much amazing magic in Manila that I wanted to be a part of, and I had no reason really. I was cut free actually after I got out of this relationship to come to Manila and leave New York. There was nothing that was holding me there anymore, and I was sort of like being like a balloon being cut, and I just was like, yeah, Manila, I'm gonna do it. And as soon as you had that open heart, it was like the perfect apartment, like the job.
Yeah.
You know,
the universe is just like
the universe
boom,
just like
boom,
opened up
boom.
and was like, here's
Totally.
everything, and it happens to you in Manila. And then that's what happened. And I just
No,
went,
I mean,
I went
that's
towards
so
the light.
true,
I went
man.
towards the light, and I've never looked back. And it's just been like one thing after another, even with difficulties and everything else. It's just been, here I go.
Yeah.
And here's all the things that are happening.
Let's
and
fucking
here's
do
the
this,
the
right?
inspiration is just like basically flowing out, and there's people there to basically bounce it off of. And that's the other really big thing, is like there's people there to bounce it off of,
Yeah,
who are
it's the dialogue,
open-minded,
too.
who are super
We're
open to
not like
collaboration.
fucking angry and
Yeah,
jaded
they're
all
not-
the time.
Not all the time.
No,
Not all
I feel
the
like
time.
there's this absolute.
In fairness,
I feel like there's this absolute joy in Manila, and it's joy as opposed to happiness, right? Like,
Yeah.
like happiness is like rooted in like circumstance. Like I won the lottery, so I'm happy. Joy, I think, like it's a choice. Like you
Yeah.
choose to be a joyful person, and I just meet so many people here who choose joy in a way that I didn't meet in Paris or in New York when I lived in both of those cities. And arguably, I think that it's Manila's joy that makes it the most appealing cosmopolitan
it's
city
true.
I've ever lived in. Like,
Yeah.
it's that people here are like know who they are. Like you can be Bengali and still call yourself a Manileño. You know, like
Yeah,
you know
it's
who
true.
you are.
It's so
and
true.
Yet
It's so true.
You don't
Yeah.
impose your truth on other people. You wait, and you're just like, well, who are you? You know, and I felt that as soon as
Not
I
in a
moved back
judgmental
here.
way, right?
No. There's like this absolute. I mean, this. You know, I mean, I'm sure that not everyone feels this way. Like you and I think like have worked hard to sort of like find the right people to talk to, and also I think that we've had access to those people because of a lot of different things. But for me, I think how I ended up in Manila is by accident.
Yeah.
I came to a place where New York was not the city that I thought I had moved to. I was doing well there. I graduated magna cum laude from college. I like had a job right out of college, and I was writing plays, and I was like producing as well as any 21-year-old can produce plays off Broadway that are like super political, you know. But I was fucking miserable the whole time, and I was a fucking alcoholic. Like I was like bonkers gone, and I got bed bugs, and I was miserable, and everyone was mean all the time, and when I got bed bugs, my brother was getting married here, and I came back for 3 months. I quit my job. I was like, fuck you. Your magazine is going under anyways. There's nothing I can do as your subscriptions manager to save your company. So I'm going to quit. And I saw one of my plays go up in Michigan, and then I used that as an excuse to just cut ties and go here for 3 months to like detox. And when I was here, I gained 15 pounds for starters because I was so skinny in New York. Like, I was
They meant
so
like rice and
broke.
palabok.
Oh no! I mean, it was 15 pounds that I desperately needed to gain, and then I discovered the theater here, which I had known a bit as a kid. You know, like I had been involved with the English theater, but what I discovered was the Tagalog theater here, like Dulaang UP and some shows by Blue Rap, and then primarily I saw this one production of Titus Andronicus. It was called Tarantadong Asintado, and Bebo Rocco was in it, and Charmaine Buencamino, and like a bunch of like big theater names here in the Tagalog theater. And it was the only time that I've ever seen Titus Andronicus work on stage. Do you know Titus Andronicus?
I feel like you just said like, I don't even know Nepalese to me.
I'm so sorry.
It's like, it's not even remotely in the realm. Like, it's not even, like this is the room and what you said is like outside.
I'm so sorry, Julia. No,
It's
and I'm
just
so
like-
sorry, camera and God.
Yeah.
Sorry, God.
It's just,
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
even.
Okay, let me explain in like 5 seconds. Titus Andronicus is the oldest Shakespeare play. It's his first play, and it's very, very, very seldom staged because it's massively, massively violent. Everyone dies. And
Well,
there's-
spoiler alert.
Sorry, well, you're allowed to spoil Shakespeare plays. And there's this insane rape that happens where these two maligned brothers whose older brother was murdered by this girl's father. To get back at the father, they rape her and they cut her hands off and they cut her tongue out so they can't let anyone know so that she can't reveal the rapist, right? So no one stages this play because it's fucking disgusting and so hard to pull off without being completely overblown and horrifying, right? I saw it staged at UP, Dulaang UP, with these amazing actors in like fucking contemporary street Tagalog, set in the wake of the Ampatuan massacre.
Ooh,
So set
Wow.
in somewhere in Maguindanao.
something meta.
No names dropped.
Yeah.
But god damn it, the dramaturgy was so fucking unbelievably brave
Yeah.
and so sound. It was the first time that this violence had been earned because it came out of this place of clanic, sort of like clan-based fucking blood hunger, you know, like. And well, first of all, I wept for days after watching it because the rape scene happened on stage with a motorcycle. They ran over her hands with a motorcycle until her hands were gone on stage, and I was like fucking 3 feet away, just fucking crying. And he was a pig butcher, like it was amazing. And when I saw that production, I was like, holy shit,
Something's happening.
the theater in this country is braver than the theater that I see in New York every week. And rather than screaming into the wind as a minority that no one cares about in the American mainstream, why not do years of work to join this discussion, which is like welcoming? It's like what you talked about. Like as soon as you make the decision, Manila
That's the thing.
opens
As soon as you
herself
make the decision, because it's so easy not to make the decision.
Yeah.
But as soon as you make it, it opens up, and there are so many beautiful things to be a part of.
It's amazing. Check out Dulaang UP. Check it out, because
I just feel like you sort of like
sorry
really
to plug it.
I feel like you really just schooled me. Like my like discovery of Manila was like through a breakup, and yours is like a very profound, like moving
please,
theatrical experience.
You know, they were both breakups. They were both breakups.
No,
Yours
but I
just
mean,
was just physicalizing
no, I know, but that's
like a
that's the
dick
time that you
person.
get to realize. I think it's like that time, exactly what you're saying. It's when you're able to let go of the somewhere else, because it was always like the somewhere elseness.
Yeah.
Right? It's always like you're rooted somewhere else before you have to choose the new place, right? And then
Right.
when you let go of the dreams and the aspirations and sort of what you perceived your life was going to be like in one way, and you open yourself up to realize what it could be like and what could be your reality in a place like Manila, it's just it takes on a completely different form.
Yeah.
It takes on a completely different form. And now
So now what
we
do
have
do?
an NGO together.
Yeah, now we run an NGO.
We're doing like theatrical. We're
what
like
the
doing
fuck is
theatrical
an NGO? I don't even know. Non-government. I don't even know what it is.
It's a nonprofit.
But
We
now
basically
run
like
one.
do stuff that we like don't really make money from, essentially.
Sad clown.
face. But we are like also sometimes collaborating on theatrical performances.
now I don't even know how to answer the
I'm-
question. What do you do?
No, I even know, like,
Because it's like
it's so random, and that's the beautiful thing about not just Manila but the Philippines is like all of these random things can exist at once, which is why you want to live in a city, right?
Yeah.
Like the other week, I'm building bamboo structures with an artist who I super admire, who's a great, like wonderful human being named Leroy New. We were building bamboo structures together in Pauai, which is in the Ilocos Norte. Then I was like in government meetings, but then I was like in a community trying to work on like on a paper product business. Then we're collaborating on a street fair that's coming up end of May, and then we're doing like it's just all these. Then I'm having merienda with neighbors.
So basically,
who are like, a part of martial law
you're a
and talking
professional
about,
8-year-old.
I mean, we're basically a professional 8-year-old doing whatever we want to do at any point in time.
It's like what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've got to be, we're so lucky for that. We're so lucky for that.
And Manila facilitates that as well, though.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like all of those things that you can wear a million. None of our friends have a regular, like 9 to 5.
No,
right?
actually.
Like people never even ask you. When I was living in DC, it was always, what do you do? Where do you work? Right? Like no one even ever asks that here. It's kind of like, hey, like
what gets you off in life?
What are you doing? What are you up to?
Speaking of questions, what's the next question, God?
What's your favorite word? We're now at the getting to know you portion of the show.
Oh, we're at
the getting to know you portion.
Okay, so this is rapid fire. Rapid fire.
Right,
So let's look into the central camera.
I don't even know where I'm looking at the time. Sometimes looking
No, me neither. I'm like,
that one.
Yeah, it's fine. Let's look into
and
that.
sometimes my bangs are
we'll
cooperating.
So how this portion of the podcast works is that God is going to ask us questions, and then we're going to take turns answering. Okay, so God, can you repeat the question, please?
What is your favorite word?
What?
What's your favorite word? Go.
My favorite word? Mochi.
Love lily.
What is love lily?
It's the adverb form of lovely. It's an actual word. Look it up.
Love
Next
lily?
question.
Okay.
What is your least favorite word?
Faggot.
I think pussy.
Ew. Next.
What turns you on?
This sounds really weird, but like people. I
get turned on by people.
I really love being around people. Like if I'm not around people, I feel really weird. Like I really, really like being around people.
What turns me on? Detours. Like, okay, so you know how you have your happy trail, like from your belly button leading to your privates? Like, detours are like this muscle.
Oh,
when that exists.
Yeah. So like a physical turn on? Is that
what I mean, I guess it's like up to interpretation.
Okay.
I can't believe I just lifted my...
It's fine. Okay, next question.
What turns you off?
I know this is like so cliche, but I really, really dislike when someone says the word hate. Like, like I hate that thing, or I hate that thing.
Really? Oh God, I say that all the time,
well,
Julia.
I'm like, no, but I mean, if I don't like something, I'll say like I strongly dislike. The word hate, I know it's so cliche, but I really don't like the word hate.
I don't think it's cliche.
I think that it's too much. I mean, if you manifest that in your life and you're going to say that you hate something, it's just, it can never be resolved. It's a closed door. So hate it's too final for me.
What do I hate? I hate willful ignorance in people. I think that is reactionary from growing up and going to the super conservative school I did, but there'd be so many times, I think my favorite question is why? Even as a kid, premarital sex was a sin, and I was like, why? And people were like, don't ask that. And so I hate when people choose to not ask the question why. And people can live their whole lives never asking that question. And I am really turned off by people who are scared of the unknown, I guess.
So serious.
So serious. I get serious when I'm drunk. Sorry.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, so next question, God.
Which historical period sex scene is your favorite?
Oh yeah, I snuck this one in. So you know
only because you would know historical sex scenes. You know I don't know.
No, of course. Yeah, any period film, like Renaissance, World War film. Come on, you know, like so there are sex scenes, and then there are sex scenes that happen in history.
Did you know that
in
movie
film.
Dangerous Beauty about courtesans in like 14th century Italy?
Was that a good sex scene?
There was one in there.
Okay, so.
Or anything in the Tudors, I guess, that didn't involve violating and
blood. Oh, the Tudor sex is
Yeah.
really hot. I'm really into period sex.
Yeah. Period piece.
Like
period piece
like
sex.
historical period sex.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
like. Yeah. Okay.
Next.
So my favorite.
Like, wait for, I'm like not gonna get. I'm like not even gonna allow you to answer the
me
question.
out of the answer to this question. Like, okay. So my favorite period sex scene is. I'd have to go with this one that Joel, my kuya, and I talk about all the time, which is have you seen Enemy at the Gates?
No.
Enemy at the Gates is this like World War II film? World War II.
He was so consumed by the lovemaking, he
think
forgot
it's World
which
War II,
war
but
it
Russia,
was.
It's about Russia, so I get confused. And these like Russian like snipers, and Jude Law has the sex scene with Rachel Weisz. That's
Basically Jude Law. That's
Jude
what
Law.
anything
period.
anything
based
historical
with
in Jude Law.
Mm-hmm. Next question.
If you were an animal, which animal would you be?
This is not which animal would you want to be. This is which animal would you be.
Yes.
That's okay.
Think hard now.
They're kind of different.
Yeah, they're totally different. Because I want to be a red panda, but I think I'm like some sort of bird.
Oh.
So maybe we should answer this for each other. What animal am I, do you think?
I feel like you're a little bit of an eagle.
An eagle?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I
Yeah,
love that.
I feel like you're a bit of an eagle. I feel like you're a bit of an eagle because like eagles, they soar, right? And they're like surveying the scene, and they're sort of like lofty and like cruising, but they're very sharp, right? Mm-hmm. They're like eye on the prize, and it's like I'm gonna swoop down and get my prey.
Yeah.
But they're cruising. It's sort of a metaphor about you being on Grindr.
Which I gotta say, I just signed on to Grindr like a little bit ago, like as in 3 days ago, because I'd quit for a year, and I think I'm gonna have to quit again. Like,
Yeah, you have to quit.
It's just
That
like
thing
it's
is
too much,
It's
man.
just too much.
It's too much.
It's just too much.
Okay, what animal are you?
I will accept the answers of butterfly, peacock, and I'm just kidding.
No, I definitely. I think that you're not feline. You have like this openness about you, and felines are like much more closed.
Is this my yin deficiency?
You gotta work on your yin.
I'm not
girl.
feline because I have a yin deficiency, and yin is like very much associated with like feminine properties.
No, I didn't say
Says
you weren't
my
feminine. I said you
acupuncturist.
weren't feline.
Oh, I have to pee.
I gotta pee so bad.
Oh my god. Okay, go finish.
Okay. I would say that you are. Like some sort of like a sun bear.
What the fuck is a sun bear? What the fuck is a red panda to begin with? These are like
You're
made
not a
up
red
mammals.
I'm not
These are
making this
made
up.
up fantastical
No, a
cute
sun bear
animals.
is this beautiful bear with long claws that's like slimmer than most bears, but has
Oh, that's
immense.
so nice.
But has this immense strength to her. When she lives up in the trees because she loves sunlight, but she can come down into like the undergrowth, like off the tree to like, you know, do the work with her bear mates.
That's so nice.
Anyways, look up sun bear. I think that you're a sun bear.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next question. God?
What do you do with yourself?
We've already answered this.
What do I do? How
do
do I
you
spend
do?
how do I spend my days?
Okay, why don't you go pee while I answer the question?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go pee while you answer the question.
Okay, that sounds
Okay, so what do I do? You have to walk like behind me awkwardly now, though. Yeah. Or like yeah. Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
All right. So what do? Well, I really like theater. I don't do enough of it because in every city I've lived in, not just Manila, but in Manila as well, it doesn't pay enough really to just do, at least not till you're like well into your blankies. But when you're in your early 20s, you can't just do theater. So I also hula hoop with fire. I won this show called Talentadong Pinoy a couple of years ago, fire hula hooping, and that was really fun and crazy. And I'm sure Julie and I will talk about it at length at in some point in the future when we talk about success and shit like that, and like what it means to start communities here. I love flow arts, I love circus arts, I love people. I've now started working in community organization with this company that Julia and a few of our friends, Carlos Celdran, Ria Limyap, Camille Del Rosario, God, who else? Oh, and Charisse Aquino. We run this org called Viva Manila, which has been really fun. How was it? Did it go okay? Okay, cool. Okay, good. So I can wrap up. And what else do I do? I sing in the shower, and that's really fun.
You also try to play harmonica.
I try to play harmonica. So far, it sounds like an old man farting, but I'm getting there. That's about it. But I'm single.
Hi.
Julia, go.
What do? I like talking to people, talk to a lot of people, go around all the time, talking to everybody. I commute a lot, so I ride a lot of the pedicabs, LRT, MRT, which are train systems here. I ride a lot of jeepneys. I like to wander around the city a lot and go to new places. I really love markets, so I go to Quiapo, I go to Paco. I like to, I really like markets a lot, so I usually either bring like 500 pesos or like one bag, and whichever one gets like full first, like I spend 500 pesos, or I like fill up the bag first, because it ends up being like random shit like wheels and like fans and random like collages of kittens and different things. Whatever I can find. I really like thrift stores. I really like the used clothing markets here in the Philippines, and also the Goodwill where my parents live in Florida. Lots of sequins. I like to make kaleidoscopes, and I don't really cook very much, but I like to eat a lot of food, so I eat out a lot of seafood mostly. What else? I hang out with friends and take boat rides. I like taking boat rides on Manila Bay. I like taking walks and planting things. I try to plant stuff. Daniel, I'm like running out of things. I don't know what I do.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I like to throw parties. I really like to throw parties. I have one coming up. It's going to be a mid-year party. I thought that nobody...
You're seriously inviting...
I'm inviting everybody. Everyone has a New Year party. No one has a mid-year party. I really like rituals, and I like not fake, but sort of made up mythologies. Yeah. So I really, things like, tarot. I really like tarot.
Tarot's not made up.
Not made up, but I'm saying
it's like older than the Bible.
No, I mean but based on the fact that I love things like tarot and horoscope, I really like those things. So I'm really interested in investigating mythological, ritualistic type of ceremonial things, which I will try to bring in, which ends up sometimes just mostly in parties.
So that's what we basically do. What we're going to do on this podcast is talk through all of our shit in front of y'all. Basically...
Themes like identity, beauty, what do we talk about?
Art here. Privilege, and the fact that we have so much of it in a weird way. I'm like rich for the first time.
Color, race.
Yeah, color, race, urban
Gender,
development, bureaucracy,
love, dating,
culture, music,
urbanity, all of those things. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We know that it's a little bit loose at this point in time, but we hope that you guys stick with us, and we hope that you come back and join us for this conversation. Eventually, we're going to be doing call-ins. We're going to be inviting a lot of people to this conversation.
But our secret goal, I'm not going to lie, is basically we want everyone to fall in love with Manila the way we fell in love with Manila 3 years ago.
In case we didn't sell it hard enough. This is the very, very obvious branding. Not branding, what do you call that? Pitch?
Pitch.
The very obvious pitch. There and then.
We want
come to Manila.
We want our friends in the States and our friends here in Manila to love Manila as much as we're learning to love Manila every day.
And come here. Just come over anytime.
You like my little...
No, that's like,
Okay.
all right. Thank you. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.